I guess like what really motivates me is this, right? I feel like the biggest problem we have with kind of Web 2 overall is I think that we have a lot of very deceptive tools, right? The idea that, when I go on Facebook Messenger and I message my friend, the tool's lying to me. I'm not talking to my friend, right? Like I'm basically asking Mark Zuckerberg, can you please tell me my friend this and make it show up on her screen? That's not a very and like this is the whole internet, right? It's not just about Web 2 platform. It's this overall paradigm that people are alienated from their tools. They're kind of like tools in cyberspace. And they don't really understand how they work. They trust people they don't intend to trust. And in fact, like most tools people use are not really tools. They're more like services that you ask third parties to do for you, but they're presented with a UX of tools. They are presented with a UX of like, this is a app. When you put a line of text here, it shows up on the other end, and you're not supposed to worry about what goes on. Um, and I think like, I guess like, I was always very deeply uncomfortable with this sort of paradigm, especially since kind of like personally speaking, like I spent part of my life growing up and living in China. Uh, it's really easy there to see how this paradigm can be abused, right? Like more obviously here, right? People say the wrong things on WeChat and then their account gets banned. And because all WeChat accounts are KYC, they can't ever make another one. So like that kind of thing happens. And obviously worse things happen, right? People nowadays it can be worse. Like people go to jail for stuff they say online. It used to not be that case back in the day, but at least people get perma-banned because everything's KYC'd. Um, and you have this like situation where all these deceptive tools are really like tools for this more nefarious actors that control these centralized platforms, big corporations in the state and things like that. And I just feel like if Web3 means anything, it has to fix this. And I was always really interested in using cryptography and technology to fix this. I remember one of the first coding projects I did when I was like a teenager was try to make this browser that had a VPN in it. I had some friends use it. It didn't work very well, but I always found it really crazy that with cryptography, you could build tools that, even ISPs can't shut down, right? Like even states can't shut down. And yeah, so I kind of went on that whole like cypherpunk route for most of my life. And how I started Mel was really I was really into building things like Tor like networks and stuff during my like PhD time. I was doing a lot of research and that kind of thing. I kind of eventually realized that if you wanted to make a system like that decentralized, you need something like a blockchain. And I also got into Bitcoin around that time, and I was really excited about Bitcoin. I actually published a paper on how to embed a PKI into Bitcoin's UTXO graph. That was, I was pretty excited about Bitcoin basically, but really eventually I realized that, Bitcoin's great as a currency, Ethereum's great as like a computer, but because none of them have like really good light client support that lets you fully get rid of trust for like thin clients or like really lightweight clients, you can't actually scale the sort of like highly decentralized and privacy protecting and secure internet on top of that. Like most wallets, literally they just ask an RPC provider how much money I have. Like even basic facts like that, you're depending on other people to tell you. And the entire ecosystem is built around this paradigm, right? All the composability happens on chain. You can't use ENS, for example, as a DNS replacement securely. It just becomes DNS but run by Infura if you do that in your browser. And I just feel like, oh, this is not the right way because, you know, eventually you're going to run out of kind of like base layer focused applications like DeFi and things like that. And what about the 90% other applications, right? What about chat? What about social media? What about file storage? How do you actually make those things really resilient and like break those things free of the whole Web2 paradigm? And I decided that what you needed was a new blockchain. And I actually published my PhD thesis on that. Like, how can you make like composable endogenous trust? That was like the stupid academic term I came up with. But the idea is really like, how can you generate trust and security with economics, but also compose it with other systems off of the blockchain? And I actually think Mel's the first project that really tries to focus on this, but I do feel like it's a really big missing piece in the whole kind of like decentralized protocol stack, so to speak. And yeah, so I guess that's kind of my personal journey, how I got into the space, why I'm building Mel. It's really just about how can you build less deceptive tools when you chat with someone, how can you make it so that the UX actually is um, reflects reality. I don't like my software to lie to me. That's, I guess, ultimately why.
Unchecked governments have eradicated privacy and truth. Those who resist are brought down swiftly, but we refuse to submit. Unipunks are freedom fighters, protected by encrypted shadows. The future we're building is sovereign and uncensorable. The moonlit night is coming.